So, good evening, good morning, good night to everyone all over the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is one of the sessions of UWCD Open Days, and we are here today to present you the second day of this session. And we are some UWCD alumni that came here today to talk about the impact of UWC Dilijan on our lives and on the lives of the others around us. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Francesco Casucci. I come from Italy. I am UWC Dilijan class of 2018, so I graduated 2 years ago. And here on the screen, you can see my friends, some that I met only sometimes. I have Workne here, my co-year. I have Hannah, my second year, Shirley, my first year, and Manana, my actual third year. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll have a brief introduction of ourselves, and then we'll have our the head of UWC Dilijan that has recorded a short video for us that will introduce himself and the school to you guys. So, Shirley, the word to you.
All right. So hello everyone, my name is Shirley and I am from Indonesia. I graduated UWCD in 2019, which was last year. And then after that, I joined a gap year program where basically we travel the world to learn new skills along the way. So that's a little bit about my life. Hannah.
My name is Hannah and I'm from Denmark, and I'm still in Denmark actually. And I graduated from Dilijan in 2017. And after graduating, I took 2 gap years where I traveled a bit, I worked, I went to a music gap year boarding school in Denmark where I played a lot of music, and now I'm in my first year at uni here in Copenhagen. And Manana, what about you?
Hey there, so I'm Manana. I'm an alumna from the first generation. I graduated in 2016, and it's truly a pleasure to be here with all of you guys and talk about our school and remember our good memories together. After graduating, I went to UC Berkeley and continued my education there. I actually graduated like 3 days ago from Berkeley with degrees in economics and data science, and my next stop will be Harvard studying Masters of Data Science. So yeah. Workne?
All right, okay. So first of all, congratulations, Manana. That was very nice and impressive. And hello, everyone. And I hope everyone is holding up very well amid this Corona crisis and a very challenging time. Well, my name is Workne. I'm from Ethiopia, and I was in UWC Dilijan class of 2018. And currently I'm in the US, continuing my undergraduate studies in Harvard University. And I'm really happy to come back to you guys and share our experience and remember some of our memories. So thank you, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm not sure the last video was seen by everyone. Here is a video from our head, Gabriel, and I hope it shows now. Here it is. Can you, no, nope. Here, can you see it now, guys? Can you see that? Okay, great.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Abad Fernandez. I'm the head of UWC Dilijan. I am delighted to welcome you to our virtual open day. In these very, very special times, we're turning to a virtual open day to give you an opportunity to get to know more about UWC Dilijan. UWC Dilijan is not just an international school. There's over 11,000 international schools. But UWC Dilijan is the Armenian UWC, which means it's a school that really appreciates diversity. Geographical, cultural, religious, socioeconomic. A significant portion of our students comes here through a scholarship program. We have students from over 80 nationalities. We're expecting a class of 220 students maximum for August. We're looking forward to welcoming back our class of 2021 and to welcome to our campus the class of 2022. We are in Dilijan, which is a city located in the Silk Road. It's the connection between Armenia and Georgia, Iran. It's a very special place, 13-meter high, surrounded by forest, connected to a very, very ancient history and culture of Armenia, connected with the future, with technology, with a new vision for education. We hope you enjoy our virtual open day, and if you have any questions, please reach out to us directly here, or you can do it via contacting admissions@uwcdilijan.am. Thank you.
Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed that little video. So as Gabriel said already, UWC Dilijan is an independent, non-profit international boarding school belonging to a charitable trust registered in Armenia. And it's part of the United World Colleges global movement that aims to unite people, cultures, and nations through education for peace and a sustainable future. So that is our motto. I also have it in the back of my hoodie. That's really beautiful. Sorry for the bad sound. But yeah, so in 2014, our school was born. It was, I guess, the number 16 or 15 at the time. Our founders are Ruben Vardanyan and Veronica Zonabend. And as Gabriel said, they created the school, especially in the middle of the Silk Road of the world, because of its position, of its bridge between cultures, between the East and the West, in the middle of the world, I would say. So, as I said, the power of the UWC movement, and therefore also of UWC Dilijan, is the fact that we are united through education. So we are we don't only study, of course, but education is what really motivates us, what brought us today, and it's connecting us all today. So Shirley is going to talk about what is the education in UWC like, what is the IB, and yeah, that's it. Go for it, Shirley.
All right. So I'm going to touch on a little bit about the question, what it is that IB and UWC teachers teach you, and also what was so special about the UWC experience that I've experienced for 2 years in my life. So a little bit of background about IB, International Baccalaureate Curriculum, consists of 6 subject groups ranging from literature, arts, and then etc. I think what is good about IB, based on my experience, is that it gives you the opportunity to try everything, because you have like 6 very different subjects, and then you can basically take it throughout 2 years courses of your life, and then you can experience different stuff. So a little bit about my background. I came from my previous educational background is actually from Indonesian curriculum, and it was very, very different than IB. So in my Indonesian curriculum, there will be only 1 teacher speaking to about 20 to 40 students, and then the teachers will be speaking, and then the students will be listening. And what is different from IB is that IB itself is a very discussion-based classroom, which means everyone's opinion is being supported and everyone's opinion is being listened. And that is something that is very special to have experience in the IB curriculum itself. And then what makes it even more beautiful if you are studying IB in the UWC itself is that you hear opinions from all around the world. You talk about literature, you talk about arts, you talk about politics, and then you hear it from the people who have experienced it in their lifetime before. So I think that's, for me, is something that you cannot get anywhere else, even though you enroll in any IB school in the world beside UWC, because basically UWC gives you a chance to speak to the person of the country and experience it for your life.
Thank you, Shirley. That sounds inspiring, and I can say from my point of view, it is a shared feeling from all of us. Just a small question maybe to Hannah, that is already in university. Are there any like special soft skills that you acquired during your education at UWCD that you found not only academically really helpful, but just as a person exploring the academic world?
Well, I think even before coming to UWC, I was quite curious, but I think at UWC, the world expands and it shrinks at the same time. So I think like after going to uni, I've been very much aware of like trying to see the differences that people actually have, although I'm in quite a homogeneous learning environment now compared to UWC. So I think I've just experienced myself being more open-minded towards like people from different backgrounds just in Denmark, and I found that really interesting. And then I felt very prepared for uni academically as well, and I think that has, I don't know, given me more energy to talk to people and engage in other stuff outside outside academics as well. Yeah. And I wanted to add on to what Shirley said about the IB, and because I think something really interesting about the IB is that you have to take subjects in different groups. And then when people come from a lot of different backgrounds, you'll experience that some people are good at, say, analyzing and discussing stuff, and other people are really good at memorizing stuff. And I think for me, I came from the Danish educational system where it's all about like being critical and analyzing stuff independently. So I was quite good at literature and discussing stuff and like, yeah, forming my own opinions and reflecting, and that kind of stuff. It came quite naturally to me when I wrote assignments and stuff, but I was really bad at memorizing stuff in biology. I was really bad at maths. And I think it was just really inspiring to be around people who came from different educational systems as well. And I think it created quite an interesting environment.
Absolutely, I totally resonate with that. I was in class with Workini in different classes, and it really showed how the different backgrounds gave you strengths in some subjects, maybe some other weaknesses. But the beauty of our education there together is that maybe I learned, for example, from Workini so much, not only in maybe the mathematical subjects, like physics or chemistry, because he was really, really good. I remember that, but also in very opinion-based subjects like theory of knowledge. We had our presentation together. I don't know if you remember that. You probably remember that. Yeah, so different backgrounds give you the strength to build something absolutely unique. And yeah,
I remember very clearly my first theory of knowledge lesson, where our teacher asked us to draw a map, and that was really interesting because I completely forgot about New Zealand and Australia. And then there was a Chinese student who put China in the middle, and I of course put Denmark in the middle and drew Denmark very accurately with a lot of small details. And I think that really, yeah, shows how people come with different perspective, and it completely changes your own view of the world.
Just to add on to theirs, by the way, when we came to the theory of one, I just want to remind you of Dominic Ongwen, the one we talked about. You remember, yeah? Yeah, but like, especially when it comes to IB education, I think Charlie and Francesco, they covered a lot about how it touches different areas. But it's not only broad, but in many ways, it's also very, very depth center. Like, you know, it goes deep in almost every area. And one thing really important about this is, I think many of you guys, especially when you're thinking about applying to colleges and other places, you try to like choose colleges based on what you want to study. Sometimes when you don't know what you want to study, you want to go to like liberal arts schools where you can explore what you like and not. And something really good about IB is, since you have like almost all areas covered, it really gives you opportunity to explore yourself, whether you like something in humanity or science or in music or art. You get like really important exposure for your professional life development. And that's really significant about IB, that I would suggest anyone who can to actually delve into it and take it.
Also, I want to add something about IB that we all used to complain when we were studying in Dilijan, but then I personally took pride in it, and that's the extended essays we wrote as part of our final graduating piece. Extended essays, for those who do not know, are extended like research in the area of your interest, and you have mentor during this time, and you do research and you write your first research paper for most of us. And because it's the first experience, it can be like really hard, and we get used to complain and say, oh, this doesn't work, like it takes us so much time, so many nights that we do not sleep. But at the end, you graduate with a good research paper, and you really need to take pride in it. And IB is one of the, and that makes IB one of the things of the educational curriculum, in my opinion, as well.
Just simple one, actually, about the extended essay. I did my extended essay, if you, Francesco, I think you remember, in mathematics, and I continue that research again in university when I'm using the same field and studying and doing. So it really opens up great areas. I mean, at the time it's really pain. Like, I mean, it's really hard. Sometimes you complain, but you get so much out of it, and it's really nice.
And I think something that's quite special about doing the IB at a UWC school is that you get to know your teachers quite well because you see them outside of class as well. So I think it just creates a different environment because they know what your interests are, and they can tell you, like, if you're not being honest with yourself or true to yourself when you're writing your papers, or if you're like, I don't know, it's a different environment. And I remember I was writing my extended essay and I proposed a topic to my supervisor, and he was like, are you sure this is what you really want to write about? Like, because he knew me actually quite well, so he kind of directed me in a different way. And I think that only happens when you actually know your students, that as a teacher you're able to really like help them find out like what they want to do.
Thank you so much, everyone. You just gave so many nice, beautiful details and memories, I guess, from different perspectives. So that's definitely very informing to all the audience and for us as well. So as you saw, UWC is not just the curriculum. It's not just about what we study, but it's the way we study, and we live together. And that was the power of our education, because at the end that was a school, and then we really just had this growth that was academic, personal, but it was all, the interesting part was that it was all intertwined somehow. So now we're shifting towards maybe the impact that UWCD had on our lives personally, maybe talking about how today we feel changed based on what we experienced on UWC, in UWC Dilijan. And yeah, and what makes this experience a unique and probably unique, no, actually unique is the best word, a unique experience. So yeah, let's talk about that.
Maybe I can start a little bit about that, and we can continue. I think one thing we all agree on is UWC is all about people. It's about students, teachers, donors, or anyone like that who are around you to shape and to change your life. And those people who go out of their way to be there for you, you know, it's all those stories. And personally for me, my experience at UWC has been really transformative in many ways, not only in academic ways, but in my personal life, like in a way how I see the world, in a way how I interact. And in a way, like helping me to be prepared for the world that waits me ahead of me, like when I come to college life, as I progress here, I see the UWC impact daily, like here, you know? Sometimes when you are there, you might not notice how it has impacted you, but when you are out there in the world and when you see group of like, let's say 5, 6 people from different areas who are maybe not interacting together, you know, who don't share anything, then you realize UWC and how important it is by bridging the gaps between people to bring them together and help them to create, you know, beautiful connections that we all experience and like sense in our life. Even now, you know, after a long period of time, when you map together, we see that connection. On top of that, like the supports, the educational, the scholarship supports, everything that they have given me in my life, for example, personally, it has laid a great foundation for me to be here today. And I'm getting like the best education out there possible because of those people there, like the teachers, the donors, everyone who helped me and who supported me there. So, and there are so many stories like mine, which you can relate with UWC. And I don't think it's like just unique to me. Like it has impacted every one of us in a very significant way and in our own unique way. But there's like our own story mostly stands out for ourselves. You know, we can always tell, you know, when you are narrator of your own story, it stands out for you. So it's just, I'm grateful for everything, for the experience, for the education, for the people. And I'm happy to be part of it. And hopefully I will also be, you know, someone who can make those kind of impacts on the people sometime in the future. And even like by sharing also, we make impacts. I believe we're making impact every day, but you know, we aspire to be in a bigger arena making more tangible change and the impact. And if you guys have more questions later, I mean, I'll be happy to talk about that.
I want to take from the place Workney just stopped. I want to say that truly your experience is very impressive and amazing, and there are other stories like that that are connected to UWC. And you're right, the impact is not just on personal level, but it has so many dimensions that it's even it's like very hard to track. It's personal, it's community-wise, local, the Dilijan as a town, Armenia as a country, and the world as a whole. And I'm going to try to bring some examples to illustrate how this impact snowballs around and becomes a big thing. So starting from personal, I have a similar story to yours. I'm coming from a small town from Armenia, and UWC Dilijan just transformed my life. I would never imagine that I would have the opportunity to study in the US at UC Berkeley and then conquer other dreams of mine, shaping my future and my country's and world's future. And in this story, I'm going to give like a big shout out to the scholarships that are connected to UWC schools, and they're giving, as you said, this person is going out of his way to help each student who wants to make impact through education, and is helping us, supporting us, and I'm very grateful for that. And personally, UWC Dilijan broadened my perspectives, and now, as Hannah mentioned before, I imagine world a very big place, but a very small place at the same time, and I know you would all relate. And carrying these ideas and opinions when you continue your journey after UWC, you will become more sensitive towards the problems. You cannot ignore them anymore because you've discussed so many times with your peers, you know, this thing is happening in this country and we need to do something about it. Will it be a discussion that we will do at school or something that we'll go and talk to other peers in our community center? We all become change makers and we really push ourselves to do these things. And that stays with us for the rest of our lives. I'm sure you will agree. And that's one factor, that characteristics that I developed in UWC that made me start an initiative right now, which is for Armenia. I study data science right now, but then I realized that data science is not a common thing in Armenia. So I started with my friends an initiative to develop data science in Armenia. We call it Data Point Armenia. And what I want to bring with this point as well is that I was a tour guide in UWC Dilijan, and many people will come and be like, oh no, so it means like everyone is from everywhere and you're going to go and study in the world. So is this about the brain drain? Are you trying to bring all the brains here and just scatter them around the world? I want to say, no, it's not about the brain drain. It's about opening up these perspectives, these opportunities for people who know that they want to make change. And these people go and study abroad, but they really come back and they do good things for their countries, the way I want to give back to my country right now. I know a lot of people give back to Armenia, or they try to do initiatives that give back to the world. Can you hear me? I feel my connection was lost.
We can hear you now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? I feel my connection was lost at some point.
You. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. But yes, I was saying this is not a brain drain. We all want to give back and change the world. And on local level, I wanted to say that Dilijan had experienced a lot of growth with UWC Dilijan opening there. I remember when I first came, there was only one supermarket where we could go and buy things. But then by the end of, I graduated like 2 years after that, there were like 4 supermarkets, and people started speaking English and the service was all in English. It was amazing. We built a community center. We would go and celebrate our national holidays with people. So I'm trying to illustrate that Dilijan itself experienced growth, and Armenia itself had some more tourists, more international perspectives, more change with the UWC Dilijan opening here. So I'm very grateful. I feel gratitude for the school being in my country.
Yeah, thank you so much, Manan and Murkin and everybody. Really, something that maybe I should have said at the beginning is that the school is totally depends from philanthropic contributions from generous individuals that support the scholarship program and of course the school fees. So obviously it's beautiful to receive a scholarship, but what's even stronger than that, I guess, is that receiving so much from so many people even gives you even more the will to give back later on. So that's what's beautiful in Dilijan, that it's not only taking, but it's taking and giving, maybe in a different time, in a different situation. But and it's not only about the money. Obviously, we did receive a scholarship that was in form of money, but who knows? Look at what Manana was talking about. What is going to, like, we don't know yet what the great impact is going to be from all of us. And this is the great idea behind UWC, that is creating a small community that can be, let's say, seeds that are growing all over the world and yeah, having an impact on what we have today. Yeah, there are some questions from the audience, just to say that we see them. Maybe we'll answer them just at the end. These two questions that we just received. If you have any other questions, just write them now. If they're connected to the topic, maybe we'll talk about it now. So we have a small video, another one, to show you how Dilijan celebrated its 5th anniversary, because Manana was the first generation, and now we had almost like what's the generation, the 5th generation, probably, yeah, the 5th generation. And yeah, and this is a video of the 5th anniversary.
Սկզբից մտածում ենք ինչ-որ առևտրական կենտրոն պետք է կառուցեն։ Կամ հյուրանոց, կամ էլ
դպրոց։
Դպրոց։ Այդ ձևի դպրոց Դիլիջանը ում է պետք։
Իմ աղջկան։ Invited people from around the world to participate in this dream.
Our school in Dilijan is an international boarding school which will attract the kids from all over the world.
It's a community of like-minded people who think globally and feel a sense of responsibility towards the future of the world.
I send my full support to Dilijan College and wish it and everyone there an enlightened and successful future.
Dreaming with Veronica in 2006 about this project. It looks like a crazy idea, and now it is reality.
Good job, guys. We made it.
We hope every graduate from the school dedicates a small piece of their future lives, keeping connected, keeping supporting, keeping giving advice. We'd like this experience to be something you want to share with future generations.
Hello everyone, this is the first week of UWC Dilijan and we want to say
Gracias. شكرا جزيلا.
Dankeschön. Muchas gracias.
Спасибо большое. Dankeschön.
Minha boa toda.
Спасибо.
Muchas gracias.
Surtano.
Obrigado.
I miss Dilijan.
We all do.
Me too.
So yeah, that video was quite emotional for, I don't know, I guess for all of us. I did have goosebumps and my heart is beating a lot faster than before. That was really beautiful. That was the 5th anniversary of UWC Dilijan. It's absolutely incredible. And it started really from an idea of a few individuals that then found beautiful individuals like Ruben and Veronica that then found the meaning of what UWC is, and yeah, that's the beauty of when minds come together and create something so special.
I want to add something. This reminded me back I think September 21st, when everyone went to the school with flags. That was the first year the school was still like half built. I mean, it was not half built, but we didn't have furniture in the school, and it made everything more special. And everyone had their flags, and we were sitting on the floor. And then Ruben and Veronica were talking, and Veronica said that was her dream, and I think she was emotional, and everyone became emotional in the atrium. And it was such a memorable event for everyone's life, and I think this video just drove me back to that moment. Yeah, I just wanted to share.
And I think what's really special about UWC Dilijan is that it's located in Armenia, and I think like having an international school in such a small and quite special country, I don't know, I just think most alumni have a special connection to Armenia, and at least for me, when I see these videos, when I hear the old man speaking Armenian in the beginning, I don't know, it's a very special feeling, and I often think of going back, and I think, yeah, it's a really nice area, the Tavush region. It's beautiful with the mountains, and people are just incredibly nice, and yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know what to say, but it's just such a nice place, yeah.
Yeah, because especially, thank you, Hannah, for that, because you reminded us that the UWC experience not only is about people from all over the world just being somewhere, it's about being in a specific place. In our case, and I wouldn't be really, I'm so grateful that it was in Armenia, because now I couldn't imagine it anywhere else. And yeah, the point of UWC is also to have its impact on its territory. So we were so lucky to be in Armenia, and we all had so many opportunities from the territory, from the people, not only from people like Manana that knew what really Armenia was, but also from super ignorant people like me that actually had no clue where Armenia was on the map. I thought Dilijan was the capital of Armenia. And now really Armenia is part of what shapes my identity in a way. Even to remind me of that, it's a super silly thing, but I have a small ring with the arrat on it that is the symbol almost of the Armenian culture and of Armenia in general. So yeah, it shapes, even like, let's talk about it. Workene comes from a mini village in Ethiopia, and now probably never heard, like me, probably never heard of Armenia, or if yes, probably because you read so much more than me already back there. you're now connected to Armenia in a way, you know, Workne?
Yeah, actually, I want to say a little bit more about Armenian people. For me, in my UWC stay for 2 years, I wasn't able to go back for my winter breaks and you know the break times, and I spent most of my time with our local Armenian people. And I don't know, I can't really say enough about them. They're just very loving, especially like those two people in the beginning. When I saw them, it just reminded me of these two couples in Vanazor. There, when I was staying for the first winter break, they took me in. I was with them, and they're just cooking, giving, and they're just so happy to have you. You know, it's just the social capital that Armenian people have is just incredible. Like I don't know what to say. And also my stay. I know this is being live stream. Yeah. I hope somehow Lucine, she might watch it. But I had really great time with her. For 2 months, I stayed with her kids and her parents, everyone. It was just amazing. And also, like, you know, my global politics projects, do you remember, Francesco, like the final paper? So I was there, and the Yerevan State University director, actually, like I just talked to him one day, and he just helped me with everything, just connecting and just taking time to show me around and all of that. And you don't get that easily from just everyone. It just shows that how rich Armenia is in serving people, their hospitality, and like just. So I want to thank them again, and hopefully I will see them soon. And yeah, once more, Varevdes, everyone, yeah, who watched my video.
Also, I remember a time when I went hitchhiking with one of my very good friends from the school, Violeta from Ukraine, and we went to the south of Armenia to see the Tatev monastery. And then I think we took a bus some of the way, and then we had to hitchhike the last part because it's quite remote. And then this old man picked us up, and then he drove like an hour and a half extra, more than he needed to, just to drop us up at the monastery. And we talked to him, and Violeta knew Russian, so she spoke to him in Russian, and he was talking about like when he was young and during the Soviet Union, and he was talking about how he had been fighting in the Nagorno-Karabakh war as well. And I think, yeah, and then he gave us a bottle of red wine from Karabakh, and it was just, he was really nice, and he was so kind. And I think something interesting about being in Armenia as well is that you get to hear a lot of personal stories about, like, for example, the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. You really get to like talk to people about how it was like living under the Soviet Union and how life has been after the fall of the Soviet Union. And people are really happy to tell a lot of different stories about how their lives have been. And especially if you know a bit of Russian, it's really easy to get to talk to people because people are quite open and want to, yeah, people are curious about like why you're there, like why are you studying in Dilijan, like what are you doing there. And I think just the whole area is really interesting, and it's a lovely place to travel. And for me, after leaving Armenia, I've done a few online courses as well on the Caucasus region, and politically, like linguistically, culturally, it's just a really interesting area that most people don't really know anything about. So I think coming to UWC Dilijan is a really nice opportunity to just like immerse yourself completely in something really unknown to most people.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm not in Dilijan, by the way. Everybody, I wish very much. But I'm saying something about the location of Dilijan. The fact that it's quite, in a way, remote and not really accessible from everywhere, I guess it's quite of a positive thing, maybe for the next semester for the next term of how things are going to go with this global situation. So I guess that's maybe a positive side of being not, I wouldn't say isolated, but somehow remotely somehow on the map. Manano, do you want to say something about how it is for a lot of international people just arriving into an Armenian like community? What does it like? We just talked about how we saw the Armenian community. Do you want to give maybe a different point of view?
Oh yeah, so it was a new thing for Armenian community. There hasn't been an international school with this much impact, and media talking about it going on in Armenia. And Dilijan came and it was a wow and boom. And my first year in Dilijan, I would get a lot of messages from different people I didn't know, asking like, what is the school? Like, do you speak English at school? Who are your friends? Are they really from different countries? What do they do? How do they know about Armenia? Why did they come to Armenia? What's the purpose? So all these questions, they were just flying around. And I remember the first days, we would take our international friends out to Dilijan, and we would go to stores with them because they didn't speak English. We would try to translate, and then the people at the store will ask, so these people are going to live with us in the same town for 2 years? I was like, hopefully not just 2 years, but like more than that, where we hope to be here for some time now. And there were just a lot of questions, and people would come and take pictures with our international students because it was just so new for Dilijan. And no one in the beginning would speak English. I clearly remember that they would type the numbers on the calculator to express how much the cost is of the things. But then suddenly, at the end of my 2 years, I noticed that all of the stores now accommodate English. So I was so surprised and proud that Dilijan is growing that much, that fast with welcoming people. And I have actually a story about from my project week about Armenians like hosting and being open and curious about the international students and cultures. We went to Vartanis, and we were trying to do some project at the school and with World Vision Armenia, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a group of 10 students, 9 of them from different countries. And we went with Hritik and Subarna. Also, if you're watching, shout out to you, I miss you too. And we were walking on the street, and there was this man sitting. I went to ask where we should go to find the World Vision because I didn't know where we were either. And then this man was like, so are you from UWC Dilijan? So he heard about the school. I was like, yes. And we were like stars at that moment because he was like, oh, come to my place, I'll give you tea. And I was so hesitant. I didn't know if my friends will take it in a good way or bad way, because you know, if you're outside of Armenia and someone randomly asks you to go to their house, it's not a good thing. I knew this person had the best intentions ever. So I went to Hritik and Subarna, and I was like, so he wants to interact with us and he asks us to go to tea, but I'm not sure what to say. And then Hritik and Subarna were like, what is your feel like? Should we go in? It's like, yes, he's really excited to have us in his place. So we went in, and they brought us all the fruits they had. Like, they made a huge tea table, and they started telling about the history. I did a lot of translation that night, but that was such a fun night, and I'm sure everyone who was with us during that project remembers that night clearly. So yeah, it was a mutual growing experience, Francesco. To answer your question, it was, I think, growing for you guys to see our culture, but it was growing experience for our culture to welcome you and see your perspectives and see how you react to our culture as well.
Thank you, Manana. Yeah, I mean, I have hundreds of stories. I would bore everybody in the audience with like the many times I went biking and just some random person just invited me for some Armenian barbecue or some wine or something. So it's something. Honestly, I come from Rome. It's quite a big city, and I felt way safer in Armenia everywhere I went rather than in my own place. I mean, I know it's quite privileged to say that, but for people that maybe have some European people that maybe sometimes think, oh, another country, security and stuff. Honestly, I've never felt so much at home like in the streets of Dilijan, but even in Yerevan, in the bigger city that is the capital of Armenia, or even in the smaller. And especially if you're an outdoor lover like I am, you're gonna have an experience that is, I mean, actually, it's a bad thing that you go there, because now I can't even have the same experiences anymore because of the people I miss, because of the beauty that I saw. And yeah, I mean, the combination of the two is just something incredible. And
You're
yeah,
just
Armenia,
talking about,
sorry?
you just talked about outdoor things, and I remember that UWC Dilijan did not only make you discover Armenia, but make myself discover Armenia as well. And I remember for one of the project weeks, they took me for sailing in Sevan, and I didn't know that people sail in Sevan. It was such a new thing. But you're right, Armenia is such a good place for outdoor activities as well.
But I think like getting new perspectives on yourself and your own culture is something that all UWC students experience, because suddenly you hear other people talking about like your own country, or you hear like what people think of the people from your country or the politicians, and people start like exposing you to different perspectives of like compared to what you're used to. And I think for most people it's really interesting to see your own country from a different perspective. And for me, like being outside of Denmark, while a lot of weird stuff happened in Denmark, it gave me a completely different perspective on a lot of things that I considered completely normal before I came to UWC. So I think that's another aspect, like you learn about the world, but you learn about your own country and culture and background as well, and put that into perspective. And I think it's quite healthy for like to see your own life in a global perspective, because I think in quite a well-functioning, rich country like Denmark, especially, we tend to forget like what it looks like in different places, like how people live their lives in different places, and it's really hard to gain that perspective when you're at home. Yeah.
I think I would like to add a little bit more. I think how we actually gain this experience is because there are this kind of interactions every single second when you are in UWC, you know, like you wake up next to someone's like from different nationalities than you, and then you go to like breakfast and then having conversations with people from like, I don't know, another side of the world, and then having lunch with another side of the world. And then it's like you experience the whole world in such a small place. So that's why it's very like thought-provoking, and also it could be very transformative.
And just to add on to that, I think many people experience when they come to UWC that it's not what they expected, because they've seen all these photos of people like running around in national dresses, like playing traditional music or doing cultural evenings. And that's sometimes a part of UWC as well. But I think you're right, Shirley, that the most important and unique and transformative part of UWC is waking up next to someone, or just like daily life, like just because people are, after all, not like, after 2 years, you don't, when I look at Francesco, I don't think of Italy. I just think of Francesco, and it just becomes natural to walk around people who, yeah, it's just your friends. And I think that's what's really valuable, because you can go to a lot of different places with people from different countries, and it's not the same as UWC.
And adding to that, like we have that keyword peace in our value statement for UWC. It's not an exaggeration. When you live with these people, communicate, interact with people, you really start loving them and appreciating. I'm not claiming that as students we all have very very good relationships with each other. It's not like that. Of course, we're students. We're going to have some disagreements. We're going to love some people, be best friends with other people. It all happens. It's natural. But when you graduate and you look back, everyone becomes such a close person to me. Even people that you didn't go to school with. I walk at Berkeley and I see someone wearing UWC hoodie. I just want to go and hug. I want to say, hey, I feel like we're from the same family. And that's really what drives peace, in my opinion. When you start like realizing that there are people that you connect from other countries, you're not going to start war with them. You're going to find ways to contribute to their cultures, to get from their cultures and cooperate and live peacefully.
Manona, just to add on that, there was a question saying, is UWCD friendly towards LGBTQ plus community? I guess we can answer that by what you just said, right? With the answer peace. There is just a freedom of expressing yourself in whatever expression of your individual existence can be, that yeah, obviously UWCD is not just friendly. It's not just friendly towards LGBTQ plus community. It's friendly towards whatever existence you have that is in line with friendship and sustainability and peace with people around you. Do you guys want to add anything about that?
Yeah, I think I just want to add a little bit more about that. So one thing I think about UWC is, like, there are so many things out in the world that you might find very odd, but become really normal and peaceful in UWC. Not only about like LGBTQ and the other stuff, but also like so many politically sensitive issues become really normal, and you see people softly communicating and coming together to discuss. For example, in our time when we talked and brought students from like Palestine and Israel together to share experience and talk, or about like Armenia and just Azerbaijani students coming together, or any other hot issues like that. And the one thing about UWC is, for example, when you are from like some form of minority or like oppressed group out in the world, usually you have this sense of fighting back because nobody really tries to accept you. But when in Armenia, sorry, in Dilijan, like you are just accepted no matter what your orientation is towards anything in life, socially, politically, or any other form. And since you are accepted, usually like the will of us to give for other people, to care for them, and just to love them comes from the other people actually willing to give to us. You know, we don't have this sense of fighting back because nobody is really against you. You know, everybody is approving you, accepting you, and like willing to be with you. And the value of UWC is truly expressed there. You know, this coming together for peace and sustainability, building each other and being open-minded. That is like really
challenge you towards, or challenge you in that, but in a positive way, right?
Yes, very positive way. Yeah.
But I also want to add that I don't think UWC is a perfect community, but it's a dynamic community, and people are constantly like re-evaluating what's going on. Like, are we LGBTQ plus friendly enough? Are we supporting each other enough in daily life? Do we have a good connection between teachers and students? Like, all these questions are raised because people care about the community. So it's not like you just go to UWC and everything's perfect. It's not like that, but that's the really interesting part about it as well. And I think that's what motivates students to do stuff after UWC as well, that you've had this experience of really having to create something. And I think, Manana, especially for your generation, that was a huge challenge because you came and nothing was really there yet, so you had to create everything from scratch. And I think that's just what makes UWC like a really solid community, because you constantly talk about what's going on and want to make sure that everyone is included.
Definitely, the fights for building a stronger community is what makes the community stronger. So obviously, it was a community of 200 teenagers in a way. So obviously, it wasn't like perfect, because perfection obviously doesn't exist. But the very fact that we had the freedom to think about the way things were going and to shape what was going on is, I think, what makes UWC and UWC Dilijan a strong community in a way. So we have some questions. Some of them can be answered quite quickly. So I would say having an excellent average, I guess, on your subjects in school is very important for the admission. I guess really quickly, it really depends on your national committee, first of all. But at the same time, I work with my Italian national committee. This is an answer to Amal. I'm not sure what national committee you are part of, but the IB is demanding in a way. So you don't have to have an excellent, because excellence in grades is not what UWC is about. It's not what IB is about. But obviously, you have to be you have to have a profile that is willing to challenge yourself in every way. So even putting hard work in whatever you do. But the grades are not what is actually important in IB and UWC in general. It's about you challenging yourself towards a better yourself. So if that's the grades, and you show. If you show that you have low grades in your transcript and you explain and whatever, I think that really depends on your situation and the way you express yourself. But WC is not about, it is about the IB as well, but it's not about the grades that you have. It's the way you express yourself in your subjects and the way you work towards whatever you want to do. I guess this is for Manana. There are two questions for you. Did you start learning data science in UWC, and what subjects of AB helped you? Maybe we can answer that with the other question, that is, am I able to learn IT as a beginner in UWC Dilijan? And yeah.
Yeah, let me answer. Let me start from the point what I took in UWC Dilijan. I took higher level math, and then I took physics also. Not higher level, I don't even remember. But mathematics is what helped me to decide that I want to study data science and gave me a good basis for being good in the field of my studies. And I want to give a huge shout out to Tony. Tony was my math teacher, and he was amazing. And I'm sure you have more amazing math teachers now. I just loved him because he made a personal connection with the students, and everyone would go to his class knowing it's Tony. Like, let's go and see what Tony is going to explain us today. And another question about IT. I'm not sure if they added like a subject of IT or like some other programming subject. Maybe you can like surely say about that. But I know that we had clubs, and we also had people who were very passionate that they were organizing some extracurricular activities, CAS activities about that. Yeah, so I'm going to give this speech to Shirley and see if there are any subjects of IT like involving.
And Shirley, if you can answer also, if it's possible to organize demonstrations like Fridays for Futures or International Women's Day. It's not really connected, but you can answer that.
Yeah, so for the IT, when I graduated in 2019, I don't think there's a subject specifically decided for like IT, but I guess again, as like Manana said, a combination of like math and maybe like physics. I'm not a really science person, so I'm not really sure how to answer these questions. But yeah, so maybe a good combination of like subjects that will help you to pursue data science in university is what helps if you're doing it in IB. So the question, is it possible to organize demonstrations like Fridays for Future or International Women's Day? So we actually already did the demonstration, both of them, the Friday for Futures and also the International Women's Day. I remember the Friday for Futures, we were actually, a lot of us actually skipping class for Fridays for Future, where we march around Dilijan and then demand for actions towards climate change. And also for International Women's Day, we organized this demonstration in Yerevan as well. So yes, there's a possible way to organize demonstrations and also to work on what you're really passionate about.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you so much. We're going a bit over time, but I guess we can answer some more questions if everybody is agreeing on that, I guess so. There was a question from the registration. Maybe Hannah, you can answer that. Maybe I'm a bit biased that I'm asking you, but it's what would you advise those who have no idea what they want to study? And then that with maybe an easier question, what type of books are you using in the curriculum, and if we have a library on campus. So we're answering all type of questions. So easy ones first, and then.
So the first question was what I advise people to do if they don't know what they want to do. Is that a question for people who have already graduated, or what? Is that from someone who already graduated?
I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm in that process myself, so so I don't know how good my advice is, but I think, I don't know. For me, I've taken 2 gap years, and that's been really nice because I don't feel like I have to rush into education right now. So I've been able to do some different things and explore different topics and different communities. And yeah, I don't really know what my advice is. I think it depends a lot on like what opportunities you have and what you're interested in. And if you feel like you can do without education, some people feel like they don't need an education and they can start stuff by themselves and get an education later in life. For some people, it's more important to be like in a more stable community where they know that there's a set schedule and they can actually like meet people through their institution. So I don't know, if you don't know what to do with life, I don't know, go out, do something. Just anything. I don't know. I think sometimes we're a bit too scared to just like start something new or just do something. Like if you feel like it feels good for you to do something, then just go ahead, and as long as you feel happy. That's my advice, I guess. It's a bit yeah, cliche, but yeah. And the other question was something about the books. What type of books are you using for the curriculum? I actually don't really remember.
I remember. We had Pearson, Oxford, and Cambridge. We had all of them in our library, and I remember this very distinctly because my friend who would take chemistry high level, Alina, she would study 3 of those books and compare which book was doing better. So if you have questions, which book is doing better in explaining chemistry, Alina can help you because she already tested all of them. But we have a beautiful library. It's this round shaped. It has glasses on top, and there are rooms in the libraries where you can go and study with your friends, and those are like soundproof, but there is also like communal like tables and books where you can sit, study. So yeah, I miss our library as well. Nara, hi, if you're watching this.
So a quick answer to all the questions that regard the coronavirus situation, about the fact that classes will be postponed or not. We're not the best, I guess, people that can answer. I believe that on this live Facebook stream, there are people from the admissions. Maybe you can type the question in the comments below, and you probably will get an answer from that. Otherwise, you can write an email, the email that Gabriel showed, for any questions. Another question is, did all of you enroll in the Davis UWC scholarship program? I guess you can answer that.
I can answer that. If I'm correct, the Davis UWC program is mostly for, I think it's generally for colleges in the US, and there are partner colleges, and I don't know if the number is growing, but I think there are a certain number of partner colleges, and you can search them and check them. I think they are out in the Google, like you can find it in the website. So, and it's just mostly by Shelby Davis, is I think US person, and he helps the students who are coming here. And the amount of scholarship also varies from college to college, and mostly for private schools like Harvard and MIT, Stanford, I think they give $5,000 per term for students who are attending there. But there are also other colleges which get more per semester. For example, schools like Oklahoma University, I think the Davis can cover more, I think at least half to, I think, full cost of education or all of that. So I think that's as far as I know, but you can get more information about it definitely from online and going to the Shelby Davis page itself. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So here is a question about, what about students who did not have the chance to go to UWC? What would you recommend? So something that I usually would say is that UWC is not just the 2 UWC years. The 2 UWC years are something that start your UWC journey. And there are many ways to get in contact with the UWC movement, such as UWC short courses and others that really get in touch with their national committee, ask what type of programs they have. And I know many people that got involved as a parent maybe, or as in many other, as a teacher or as a brother, as a sibling or something. So there are quite many ways to contribute to what UWC is. And UWC is quite a philosophy, so not only a school, and you can definitely follow these values and this idea in many ways. Okay, we got a question, dear panelists. I'm not sure what that is about, but
I think we're going over time, and John, and we need to end soon.
Yes, I'm not getting any message though about ending, so maybe is anyone getting it?
I think dear panelists from Joanna was a message to end it.
Okay, so maybe we just have we should end the session with a video.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do it. And for all the questions that were not answered, sorry about it. Maybe you can type it in the comments that we can get back to you on the comment section. And thank you for the questions.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to us. I'm happy to leave my name under the Facebook post. So if you have questions, you can probably DM me. If anybody else is happy to do that, I guess we can do that. And I guess this little image of us is quite a symbol of what UWC is. And I hope we gave you some thoughts, some food for thought for what UWC Dilijan is. And yeah, we are from the highlands of Ethiopia. They're from the beautiful Dilijan, Denmark, everywhere, Indonesia, US, Armenia itself. So really, this is a small image of what really UWC is. And whatever we said, it's definitely not enough to describe how grateful we all are to everything that happened to us with connected to UWC. And so a big thank you to everyone that made that happen. A big thank you for the organizers of the session. Thank you for Future Studios for organizing it as well. And thank you for the communication teams in UWC Dilijan. So thank you, everybody. I will just show the video and then, yeah, all the best.